The United States military has asserted a position of absolute strategic dominance as it intensifies its campaign against Iranian military infrastructure, with high-ranking officials declaring that the fate of the nation now rests firmly in American hands. In a series of briefings detailing the current state of the conflict, the message from the Pentagon has been one of uncompromising resolve, stating that the United States holds all the cards in this engagement and possesses objectives that are both clear and non-negotiable. Military planners have emphasized that every asset, every installation, and every strategic capability of the adversary is currently at issue, with the American military machine operating under the direct premise that it will not allow nuclear weapons to fall into the hands of what it characterizes as terrorist thugs. The results of the initial phases of this campaign have been described as devastating, with reports indicating that the core pillars of the Iranian defense structure have been systematically dismantled. According to official statements, the adversary's navy has been effectively neutralized, their air force is no longer a factor in the skies, their central leadership has been disrupted or eliminated, and their once formidable anti-aircraft networks have been shattered. In the words of senior military leadership, everything that once constituted a coherent defensive front is gone, replaced by an environment where the United States military exerts total control over the operational landscape. Central to this projection of power is the deployment of the B-52H Stratofortress, the venerable but lethal backbone of the American long-range bomber fleet, which has been operating out of key installations in Europe. At Royal Air Force Station Fairford in the United Kingdom, the atmosphere is one of intense, around-the-clock activity as these massive aircraft are prepared for high-stakes combat missions designed to eliminate remaining Iranian missile positions. This operational surge follows a pivotal decision on March 20th, when the British government officially approved the use of British-based United States facilities for direct combat operations. This authorization includes not only the strategic hub at RAF Fairford, but also the critical Indian Ocean outpost of Diego Garcia, providing the U.S. Air Force with multiple vectors from which to strike targets within the Iranian theater. The preparations at Fairford are a testament to the logistical complexity of modern aerial warfare. Mechanics and ground crews are engaged in a constant, detailed dance around the B-52H airframes, which are known for their immense size and mechanical intricacy. Teams of specialists have been seen swarming the 8 Pratt & Whitney TF-33 turbofan engines that power each bomber, ensuring that every component of the aging but reliable power plants is in peak condition for the long-haul flights ahead. These maintenance crews perform exhaustive inspections, opening the massive engine cowling panels to examine the turbine blades for any signs of microscopic cracks or foreign object damage that could lead to a catastrophic failure over hostile territory. The level of scrutiny is absolute, as the success of the mission and the lives of the crew depend on the flawless operation of these engines during the grueling 9-hour round-trip sorties. Simultaneously, the process of arming the bombers involves the heavy-duty precision of munitions specialists. Ground crews utilize hydraulic munitions loaders, colloquially known as MJ-1 jammer trucks, to transport and hoist the massive ordnance required for the strikes. The B-52H is a platform of unparalleled versatility, capable of carrying a staggering 70,000 pounds of mixed weaponry. For the current missions targeting Iranian missile sites, the primary loadout consists of 2,000-pound Mark 84 general-purpose bombs. These weapons, measuring approximately 12 feet in length, are designed for maximum blast and fragmentation effects against reinforced structures. In addition to these conventional gravity bombs, the aircraft are being equipped with AGM-86C conventional air-launched cruise missiles. These sophisticated weapons weigh roughly 3,150 pounds each and provide the B-52 with a standoff capability that allows it to strike hardened targets from ranges exceeding 600 miles, well outside the reach of any surviving Iranian point defenses. For targets requiring even greater surgical precision, such as reinforced missile storage bunkers, the crews are loading GBU-31 JDAMs. These 2,000-pound weapons are outfitted with GPS guidance kits that convert standard unguided bombs into smart munitions capable of hitting specific coordinates with incredible accuracy, even in adverse weather conditions or through heavy smoke. The process of loading these weapons is a feat of engineering in itself. Each bomb and missile is carefully hoisted onto external wing pylons or into the cavernous internal bomb bay. Inside the bay, the munitions are locked onto the common strategic rotary launcher, which serves as the heart of the B-52's internal weapons delivery system. This cylindrical drum is a marvel of mechanical design, holding up to 8 cruise missiles or heavy bombs. The ground crews spend hours testing the rotary launcher mechanism, ensuring that it spins smoothly through its full rotation and that each weapon station is electronically and mechanically synced with the aircraft's fire control system. They verify that when the weapons officer initiates a release command, the drum will rotate with perfect timing to bring the next weapon into the drop position, allowing for a rapid-fire sequence of releases that minimizes the time the bomb bay doors must remain open. While the ground crews finalize the aircraft's lethality, the 5-man flight crews undergo their own rigorous preparations. The mission profile is demanding, requiring a flight to the target area in Iran that lasts approximately 4 hours and 30 minutes one way, followed by a complex return route. In the crew rooms at Fairford, the pilots and navigators go through their pre-flight rituals with a focus born of years of training. Pilots test their oxygen masks, ensuring a perfect seal against their faces, and verifying that the regulators provide a steady flow of life-sustaining air at high altitudes. They check their intercom connections to ensure seamless communication between the upper and lower decks of the aircraft, which is vital during the high-stress environment of a combat drop. Personal flight bags are packed with meticulous care, containing the essential tools for a mission that could span half a day: water, high-protein food, detailed maps, emergency checklists, and survival gear. Once on the flight line, the pilot and co-pilot ascend to the upper deck, strapping into their side-by-side ejection seats. Their initial task is to navigate the extensive pre-flight checklist, a process that involves checking hundreds of switches, gauges, and systems. They program the mission coordinates into the bomber's advanced navigation system, meticulously entering every waypoint from the departure at RAF Fairford through the European corridor, and finally to the specific coordinates of the Iranian missile positions. Every instrument is cross-referenced, from the altimeters and airspeed indicators to the engine health monitors and fuel quantity gauges. Special attention is paid to the terrain-following radar, which allows the heavy bomber to navigate at lower altitudes if necessary to avoid detection. On the lower deck, situated directly below the cockpit in a windowless compartment, the navigator and the radar navigator take their positions. The navigator, seated on the right, acts as the primary mission manager and the aircraft's human GPS. His responsibility is to ensure the bomber maintains its precise course and timing, adjusting for wind speeds and atmospheric conditions to ensure that the aircraft arrives at every waypoint and the target exactly on schedule. He provides constant updates to the pilots, advising on heading adjustments and throttle settings to maintain the mission's integrity. To his left sits the radar navigator, who serves as the modern-day bombardier. His role is the most critical during the final approach to the target. Using the offensive avionics system, he manages the targeting pods and monitors 4 separate screens simultaneously. These displays provide him with a wealth of data, including high-resolution radar returns, weapon status indicators, and real-time target coordinates. It is his job to identify the specific Iranian missile silos or storage facilities amidst the clutter of the battlefield, select the appropriate weapon for each specific target, and manage the release parameters to ensure maximum destructive impact. When the final checks are complete and the massive Pratt & Whitney engines are screaming at idle, the order to depart is relayed from the command center. The B-52, weighed down by a full load of fuel and thousands of pounds of explosives, taxis slowly toward the Fairford runway. The pilots line the aircraft up on the center line and push all 8 throttles forward to the stop. The roar of the engines is deafening as the bomber accelerates down the runway, utilizing nearly every foot of the paved surface before finally breaking the bond of gravity and climbing into the overcast English sky. The mission plan for these sorties is a complex logistical operation. After taking off from the United Kingdom, the B-52s fly a direct route toward Iran to strike their assigned targets. However, the mission does not end with the delivery of their payload. Instead of returning directly to Fairford, the crews are instructed to fly to Sofia Airport in Bulgaria for a strategic refueling stop. This diversion serves multiple purposes. It provides a margin of safety for the aircraft after a high-intensity combat mission, and it demonstrates the level of international cooperation and operational flexibility the United States can leverage in the region. During the actual strike, the two B-52s operate as a coordinated pair. As they enter the Iranian airspace, the radar navigators on the lower deck take full control of the weapon sequence. They confirm the target coordinates on their digital displays, verify that the munitions are armed and ready, and command the bomb bay doors to cycle open. Inside the dark cavern of the fuselage, the common strategic rotary launcher begins to spin with mechanical precision. One by one, the bombs and missiles are released, falling away from the aircraft in a rapid, lethal sequence toward the missile positions below. The radar navigators track the separation of each weapon, monitoring their trajectory until they impact their targets, ensuring that the mission objectives are fully met before the bomb bay doors are sealed shut and the aircraft begins its turn away from the target zone. Following the successful strike, the bombers head toward Sofia. Although the B-52 is capable of returning to the UK without stopping, the stop in Bulgaria is a calculated move to maintain maximum fuel reserves and provide the crews with the necessary break in a secure, friendly environment. After refueling on the Bulgarian tarmac, the aircraft take off once more for the final leg of their journey back to RAF Fairford. Upon their return to the British base, the pilots utilize the aircraft's distinctive drag parachute to assist in braking. As the wheels touch down, a large chute billows out from the tail of the B-52, creating a massive amount of aerodynamic drag that rapidly slows the heavy bomber and allows it to come to a stop within a safe distance, concluding a grueling and successful combat sortie. The scale of this operation extends far beyond the missions currently being flown out of the United Kingdom. Even as the crews at Fairford are recovering, the strategic pipeline remains in constant motion. At an American B-52 base within the continental United States, another crew is briefed on a rapid deployment order. This mission requires them to ferry an additional B-52H across the Atlantic to reinforce the strike force at RAF Fairford. This continuous flow of assets ensures that the pressure on the Iranian military remains constant and that any losses or maintenance requirements do not slow the pace of operations. The crew for this transatlantic crossing prepares with the same level of intensity as those heading into combat. They review the mission plan, study the weather patterns along the North Atlantic corridor, and prepare their aircraft, which has already been fully serviced and loaded with a combat-ready payload for its arrival in England. The pilots load their personal gear, including survival equipment and enough provisions to sustain them during the long hours over the ocean. After takeoff, the aircraft heads east, settling into a long overwater flight. While the pilots manage the flight controls, the navigator on the lower deck monitors their position using long-range navigation systems, and the electronic warfare officer keeps a vigilant watch on the threat receivers, maintaining standard combat procedures even while flying through friendly or neutral airspace. A critical component of this transatlantic reinforcement is the aerial refueling mission. Hours into the flight, high above the Atlantic, a KC-135 Stratotanker rendezvous with the B-52. The pilots of the bomber make radio contact with the tanker crew and begin the delicate process of closing the gap between the two massive aircraft. Moving in from below and behind the tanker, the B-52 pilot holds the aircraft steady as the KC-135's boom operator extends the refueling boom. With practiced precision, the boom connects with the receptacle located on the top of the B-52's fuselage, just behind the cockpit. Thousands of gallons of fuel flow between the aircraft, a process that takes several minutes and requires absolute concentration from both crews. Once the B-52's tanks are topped off, the boom is disconnected and the bomber drops back, continuing its journey toward the United Kingdom. This seamless integration of long-range strike capability, international basing, and aerial refueling highlights the immense reach and sophistication of the United States military. By leveraging facilities in the United Kingdom and Bulgaria, and by maintaining a constant flow of reinforcements from the American mainland, the U.S. has created a sustainable and overwhelming force. The destruction of the Iranian missile positions is not merely a tactical goal, but part of a broader strategic effort to dictate the terms of security in the region. As the B-52s continue their rotations, the message remains clear. The United States military has the resources, the technology, and the will to hold any target at issue and to ensure that its objectives are met with precision and overwhelming power. The ongoing operations at RAF Fairford and the successful strikes over Iran serve as a definitive demonstration that the U.S. military truly holds the cards in this conflict, leaving the adversary with no viable options for defense or retaliation. The systematic removal of the Iranian Navy, Air Force, and leadership, combined with the neutralization of their anti-aircraft capabilities, has paved the way for these heavy bombers to operate with near impunity. As each mission concludes and new bombers arrive to take their place, the cycle of strategic pressure continues, ensuring that the fate of the targeted country remains firmly under the control of American military planners.